If you're after a cute succulent that spreads like crazy, this might just be the perfect plant. Echeveria Prolifica truly lives up to its name and is indeed quite prolific. Just like most Echeveria, it is native to Mexico. This little succulent is perfect for anyone and is a great beginner plant. It's incredibly easy to grow and propagate. Individual Prolifica rosettes are small and grow to about 8 cm or 3 inches. But there is a lot of these small rosettes and one plant can measure well over 50 cm or 20 inches. If the conditions are good, Prolifica can pretty much spread almost indefinitely. Each rosette will grow offsets of their own and then these offsets will grow more offsets and so on. Height-wise, they are only about 5 cm off the ground. The leaves are small and chunky with a pointy tip. They are stacked up along the stem and grow more compact when the plant is stressed. They are covered in a layer of farina. This white waxy substance acts like a sunscreen for succulents. The color can change throughout the year and based on growing conditions. During the growing season, Prolifica tends to be mostly silvery green. But once it gets cooler or the plant is stressed, the colors intensified and a bit of light pink color will come through. Green will also give way to a more bluish hue. This succulent is pretty easy to care for, but there are a few things to be aware of. Prolifica is best grown outdoors in at least 4 to 5 hours of direct sun. It will tolerate part shade or dappled light as well. However, it may get a bit leggy in too much shade and not get the nice pinky colors. Sadly, Prolifica is not suitable to be grown indoors long term and will likely eventually die unless you have plant growing lights, a sunroom or a huge sunny window. It should tolerate overwintering and short stays indoors as long as it's kept in a super bright spot. This succulent can be grown in pots as well as frost-free gardens. If grown in pots, I'd recommend repotting every year so the Prolifica can do its thing and spread. It will however tolerate being root bound, but you won't see that much growth. Basically, bigger the pot, bigger the plant. If you only get light frosts and no snow during winter, you can grow Prolifica in the garden. To help it establish and grow better, mix any type of potting mix in with the garden soil. Echeveria roots tend to be quite thin and can find it difficult to break through hard garden soil. By cultivating and mixing in a bit of potting mix, you'll add nutrients and improve the soil structure. When growing succulents in the garden, it's best to choose a slope, raised beds or a spot where water doesn't pool after the rain. If you want a prolific Prolifica, use succulent potting mix when growing in pots. Succulent potting mix will have the right pH and nutrients tailored to succulent plants. If growing in the garden, mix in any old potting mix with the dirt. From personal experience, Prolifica is a tough little plant and tolerates drought as well as lots of rain. Touch wood, I've not yet had a Prolifica succumb to a fungal disease such as rot or even powdery mildew. Edema is also pretty rare, at least on my plants. All my nursery Prolifica are grown outdoors all year round, even during very rainy periods. However, this is my experience and it may not be the same for everyone due to loads of factors such as climate, local weather, potting mix, etc. So if you ever see your Prolifica struggling due to rain or too much water, do bring it under cover and let it dry out. If you see any sign of fungal disease, treat with fungicide. During dry weather or if you're growing this succulent under cover, water when the potting mix dries up. In summer, this could mean watering a few times per week and almost not at all during the cold months. Prolifica is very drought tolerant and will live for months without any water. But in my opinion, it should not be left too dry for too long as it may start losing leaves and not grow much. Temperature-wise, Prolifica will tolerate heat well over 40 degrees Celsius or 104 Fahrenheit, though it should be moved out of the sun once it gets this hot. If exposed to direct sun during extreme heat waves, the leaves can suffer sunburn and the plant could die, especially when planted in dark-colored pots. It's said Prolifica is not very frost hardy. It can get frostburn and even die when temperatures drop below -1 degree Celsius. frost cloth can be used to protect your succulents from the occasional frost, but if your climate gets snow, I'd advise to bring this plant indoors for the duration. Prolifica is super easy to propagate and you have to do very little to multiply it. It can be propagated from leaf, cuttings of offsets and seed. To be honest, I would not bother with seed propagation as it takes too long to grow a decent sized plant and seeds can often fail. For fast results, cuttings of offsets is the best propagation method. As long as there's a good enough stalk to cut through, the rosette can be propagated. You can just pinch them away as the stalk breaks easily. Cuttings should be left to dry for about 24 hours before planting. This will give the wound a chance to heal and prevent harmful organisms from getting in. Once the wound is dried, they can be planted into pots filled with succulent potting mix and transplanted into the garden or a bigger pot once enough roots develop. First roots usually appear within 2 weeks. Some offsets will already have roots growing while attached to the mother plant. If you want loads of plants, leaf propagation is the way to go. Leaves can be quite sensitive and dislodge just by handling the plant, but even the tiniest of leaves will grow a leaf baby. Leaves separate without breaking and have an excellent success rate. Go for the largest leaves at the bottom as bigger leaves will grow bigger leaf babies. After separating a few, leave the leaves in a tray or pop straight on top of potting mix. Once you get new growth, plant the leaves in trays or pots filled with succulent potting mix and wait a few months until the roots have grown well into the pot. Because Prolifica leaves are so small, it's best to plant a few leaf babies in the same pot. In my experience, propagating is best done in spring. Summer is usually also good, but do be careful to protect your cuttings and leaf babies from strong sun as they burn easily. In climates where autumn and winter are mild, you can also propagate cuttings at the beginning of autumn. Personally, I stop propagating leaves by early to mid-summer so the plant has a chance to develop before winter. So unfortunately, Prolifica can get attacked by all of the succulent pests. It is a bit of a magnet, especially for aphids. Aphids are most common in spring. They can attack the flower stalks as well as the rosettes. They usually go for the newest leaves in the middle of each rosette. Mealybugs are common too, so watch out for any white trails, cottony sacs or malformed leaves. Because Prolifica grows tight clumps, mealybugs can hide really well and only be noticed once there's an infestation. Root mealybugs can be a real pain as they are hiding out of sight in the soil. They particularly like root-bound plants, so do check on those roots every year or so if you're not repotting regularly. And bigger pests such as snails, slugs, caterpillars and grasshoppers can attack too. If larger chunks or whole leaves go missing, they are likely to be the culprit. Prolifica inflorescence grows on a long stem and ends in tiny yellow flowers. The stem is multi-branch and can have about 10 individual flowers. Here in Australia, Prolifica blooms throughout spring, but this can be different in other parts of the world. All Echeveria are said to be non-toxic and safe for humans, dogs, cats, other pets and livestock. It may, however, not be a great idea to go and snack on these plants. And that is all for today. I hope this video was useful, and if you have anything to add or would like to ask a question, you can do so in the comments below. To learn more about succulents, hit the subscribe button or go to succulentgrowingtips.com. Thank you so very much for watching.